I am to deal with Dad's finances. He's made me a manila folder of ink-faded receipts and unopened envelopes from places like Larkey and Smith, CPAs, and Final Notice, Remit Payment Now. He says, I used to be good at handling things and struggles to scoot his chair back, wood feet scratching on wood floor, echo of wood-paneled walls in the semi-detached dining room off the kitchen. In his bedroom, I help him remove his elastic-waisted pajamas. The incisions on his lower thighs are orderly. They bear no trace of the violent procedure of which they were recent gatekeepers. One thin red line runs upward on the inside of each leg, just above and behind his knees, diagonal, covered in opaque white tape, intersected by more tape. The tiny cross stitches are visible beneath the peeling sealants. They make centipedes on your blue and brown flesh, and in 2 weeks' time, you will walk better than you have in a decade. I'm 59 years old, he says, as I ease his sweatpants up around his new knees, and he places his hand on my hair for balance. This is so fucked up. It's very common. People swear by it. You replace your old bones, aches, cartilage with artificial ones. Make a fresh structural start. Gain motility. Leave behind years of habitually living in pain. I can't understand the reality of it, or of any active surgery, replacing parts like we're cars, cracking open skin. Because of something to do with my false perception of human frailty, I think it's fucked up. After the backyard fence fell down on the overflowing trash cans and something died in there and smelled so bad, and Dad didn't tell us for weeks though, we all decided. We bought him a case of nicotine patches and a walker that looks like a teenager's scooter, and we signed him up for the best new set of bones. I'm afraid, he says from the living room as I'm soft-boiling the eggs. Bad part's over, Dad. You already took a shower alone. He begins to cry. There's things in me, like objects. I can feel them. I peel 2 of the hot eggs, place them on a piece of toast, and use a fork to smash them into the buttered bread. When I bring them to him on the tray, he's tilted his head back, and he's staring at the ceiling. His jaws are working silently back and forth, and his white beard stubble stands out sharp against the wooden wall. His orange juice spills a little bit, and I move the paper towel napkin to cover it. Are you in pain? I ask. No, he says, and his eyes get wide. I don't think I like this, he says. When I return to work, I'm out of shape. Sea legs. I have to get used to stepping on the slick planks around the water tank, and I slip a bit. The mermaid tank is upstairs from the bar, past the office and through the locker room, nestled near the showers at floor height like a hot tub or a pothole. Everything is wood and wet, and there's a smell that means summer and decay. I layer on my waterproof makeup, then I fasten my shells around my chest with the clear plastic bra straps. My tail skirt goes on last. The elastic waistband covers the permanent fishing wire indentations on my hips. From the locker room, it's just a quick hop in my tail over to the tank. The flyboy, Patrick, hooks my drown line to the weighted pulley, hands me my mouthpiece, pats my sequined ass, and lets me drop into the wash on my own. The line around my waist stays slack as I sink, like the oxygen masks on airplanes. We call the water the wash, but it isn't very clean. Once I'm in the tank, I slow motion hop over to the best spot, up in front in the window. I connect my mouthpiece to the oxygen line behind an old wooden trunk that's set up like a pirate treasure, and I smile. Bubbles form on my teeth and hair. I stay in place by manipulating my tail. We're only supposed to move our hands to use the mouthpiece or move things away from our faces. Hair, bubbles, plants that have drifted. Up in front in the window, I'm visible behind the bar, and if I smile, I get the most tips thrown in my barrel. There's 1 barrel for every mermaid, with our names on them spelled out in shells by the same shaky hand Mercedes uses when she sews our tails shut. Mercedes sews our tails shut after we put them on and before we hop over to Patrick. The tails are made of sequined stretch polyester, but the framework underneath is old rubber swimming flippers. Because of the way the flippers move when you put your feet into them, Mercedes needs to sew them flush with the tail of the costume every time. She uses stitches that are called basting and thick wax thread. It's all invisible to the patrons. Mercedes used to be a real mermaid at an outdoor theme park with natural spring water, she reminds me when she sews me up. All you girls are tadpoles is what you are, she says, struggling with the thick wax thread. Welcome back, don't breathe too fast, okay? Maybe she doesn't sew me up right because it's tight and my toes go numb. Every time I jump in the wash, I imagine there's no bottom, so I float better. Floating feels like I'm growing thicker, but in an inviting way, like you could dive into me and I could buoy you. What's a woman without legs? What's a fish that has breasts? When I was new, Mercedes told me about the women in banana export factories who stand waist deep in wooden stalls, legs wrapped in thick, clear plastic aprons from hips to feet. Their legs stand planted in the water while they reach over the divider into a tank in which thousands of bananas float popcorn style, waiting to be cleaned. The women brush tarantulas aside like errant hares. That sounds kind of fucked up, I said to Mercedes.